Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here. Two IPOs are lined up from 7th of February to 9th of February. Both are SFBs. These are small finance banks. But which are these two? The first one is Jana Small Finance Bank. The second one is Capital Small Finance Bank. So I thought that rather than making two separate IPO videos on that, rather than, extending the number of videos or increasing the length, why not do a single video wherein I just compare about Jana versus Capital. I give you all the details. Final decision of investing, not investing in both, either or whatever is yours. So let's get started with a basic understanding of what are SFBs, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand that these are nothing but similar to banks where they are going to accept deposits, they are going to give loans, okay? But then how are they different from normal banks? Their main focus, SFB's main focus is to serve the underserved or the unserved banking areas, okay? So you can imagine very rural areas, tier 3 cities ka, areas where there are no bank branches only. So in such areas, or maybe if I'm talking about people, so some people who have just a roadside kind of a shop where mainstream banks may not give them a loan, so these would be like underserved category, right? So for them these banks are going to actually give loans, okay? These SFBs will give loans, right? So I hope you have understood about the basic concept of SFBs. You also have to understand that why SFBs are actually interested to get listed on the stock exchange. So there is a rule, there is a guideline by RBI which says that once any SFB reaches its net worth of 500 crore, it has to get listed within 3 years. Okay, so that is the criteria which has been set by RBI. And if you want to know more about SFBs, of course, I have a separate video of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank as well as Equitas Small Finance Bank, so you can check out these videos as well. Now let's get started with a basic understanding of Jana SFB and Capital SFB both. Jana basically is the fourth largest SFB in terms of AUM, that is assets under management, as well as deposit size. I'm talking about 30th September 2023 K as at that period. And if I'm talking about when did it start, so it got incorporated in 2006 and started operating as a small finance bank with effect from 28th March 2018. But if I'm talking about Capital Small Finance Bank, it was introduced, or it was incorporated in 1999 as a local bank from Punjab, and it commenced its operation in India. I mean, basically, it commenced its operation as India's first small finance bank. So this is something new, right? First small finance bank is Capital SFB. Now, where do they have the presence? So basically, if you see, Capital Small Finance Bank is mainly present in the northern states of India, like what? Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, and Union Territory of Chandigarh. How many total banking outlets do they have? 173. But if I'm talking about Jana, they are having almost a pan India presence is what I can say, with a presence across 22 states, 2 union territories, and number of banking outlets is 771. So I hope you have understood that as far as banking outlets are concerned, Jana is way bigger as compared to Capital Small Finance Bank. Now this is just like an additional information or like a fun fact, you can say that overall the share of SFB branches as compared to all branches in the banking space, the lowest branches of SFBs are in the central region, followed by the eastern region, and then the northern region of India. Okay, in simple words, SFBs have a very poor presence or a low presence, I can say, in central India, followed by eastern India, and then northern India. So there is a great scope for these SFBs to improve their presence in these areas. Going ahead with the market share, you can see that market share of where is it? Fourth largest. Yes, Jana is having the fourth largest market share with 11%, and and Capital SFBs is just having a 2.8% market share. So again, here also, if I'm talking about the overall market share, Jana is bigger as compared to SFBs. Now let's talk about the financials part. And if I'm talking about financials, so what I've done is I've taken all the data, 100% data, whatever I'm presenting is from the RHP. So we actually copy pasted the figures from RHP into a normal Excel sheet so that it will be easier for me and to you all, so to quickly grasp the differences between these two. Okay, so if I'm talking about advances, all rupees are in millions, by the way, so I'm going to round off these figures. So if I'm talking about advances, Jana is at 2,13,471, of course, as I mentioned, rupees in millions, and Capital SFB is 57,841. So of course, again, by size, in terms of advances, Jana is way bigger as compared to Capital SFB. How much are the secured advances? Again, an important point. Secured is 57.42 for Jana, and for Capital SFBs, it is 99.85. So, of course, security wise, Capital is higher. And of course, for Jana also, the overall secured advances have slowly and steadily started to increase. Earlier it was, this number was again a bit different. Talking about advances growth, Jana is growing at a pace of 42%. Of course, how have I calculated this growth? I've calculated it as 30th September 23 figure versus 30th September 22 ka figure. Okay, 6 months ended data. So advances growth for Jana is 42%, for capital SFB is 12%. So again, Jana is growing at a way faster pace. Now talking about deposits, Jana is at 1,89,367 million and capital is at 70,000 million. Again, Jana is bigger. And if I'm talking about deposit growth also, it's way better as compared to capital SFB. Now comes about some more key parameters, which is like CASA, current account, saving account percentage. Jana is just 20% as compared to capital SFB, which is 37.76%. You have to understand CASA percentage, higher the better. Why? Because higher CASA ratio as compared to the total deposits, it means that their cost of funds will be lower, right? And that is immediately reflected in the next point, where cost of funds for Jana is 7.4% and for capital SFB it's just 2.84%. Okay. Net interest margin, again, the thought process is higher the better. For Jana, it is better at 7.76 and capital SFB is 2.02. GNPA, NNPA numbers for Jana are 2.44 and 0.87, and capital SFB is 2.73 and 1.36. Of course, for GNPA and NNPA both, the thought process is lower the better. Okay, so in both these cases, Jana is better off as compared to capital. If I'm talking about CRAR, that is a capital reserve adequacy ratio. For Jana, it is 17.5. For capital SFB, it is 20.72. Again, here it will be higher the better. For PCR, that is a provision coverage ratio. Basically, how many provisions or how much provisions are they making against a possible bad debt, a possible non-performing asset. Again, here the thought process is same, higher the better. And here again, Jana is at 64.9, whereas capital SFB is at 51. So again, this is better. Jana is better. So for you it might be like, oh wow, 1 minute mein samajh mein aa gaya. We got to know about this in 1 minute. But going through like 500 pages and then getting to know about all these 12 points one by one in this RHP, in that RHP, putting in an Excel sheet, that takes a lot of effort. So you can consider smashing the like button in between the video for a change. Okay, you can do that. Now, before I go on to the valuation part, I would want to tell you that how did I collect this data. I am on page number 30 of the RHP. So just to give you an example, right? So whatever details that I mentioned right now, these were from this column, 30th September 2023. Now, the only problem in the Excel sheet that I showed was that it compares only 2023 figures. It will not tell you about a trend from 21 to 22 to 23. How has the scenario been? So just to give you an example, if I'm talking about GNPA, NNPA, that comes under asset quality. Okay, so gross non-performing assets. I told you this figure only of 2.44%. But now if you check what has happened from 21, so for that you will see that earlier in 21 their GNPA was 7.25. Then it declined to 5.71, then it declined to 3.94, and now as at 30th September it is at 2.44. Okay, so if you want to dig down into details, this is a good page to check to check for your understanding also. The name is Key Performance Metrics. It's on page number 30. As I mentioned, it will talk about key performance indicators like what, for operations, for capital, for asset quality, for profitability. All these points you will find in the RHP. Let's move on with the valuation part. For valuation, capital is at 17.2 ka P, Jana is at 9.71 ka P. So Jana is obviously less expensive as compared to capital. Talking about IPO details, as I mentioned, both open on 7th, close on 9th. Both is a mix of fresh issue as well as OFS. Price band for capital is 445 to 468 and for Jana it is 393 to 414. If I'm talking about the objectives, again, objectives for both is more or less similar. Both are working towards, so whatever money they're going to get from the fresh issue, they are going to use it mainly for the tier 1 capital requirements, and also in order to be able to continue with the capital adequacy ratio requirements. For capital it is the same, and for Jana also it is the same. So I hope you enjoyed this short and sweet summary. Short and sweet आहे का किती 10 मिनिटं 10 minutes 8 minutes. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this 8 minutes short and sweet summary of capital SFB versus Jana SFB. If you did like this, don't forget to share this with your friends. I hope you loved this one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye.